Hey there, so today we have another review, and this is courtesy of Lagunitas. Thank you guys so much. They sent us a beautiful, it's a very nice card, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
very
nice.
thick stock, and it says cheers and happy holidays from the Lagunitas family. They just sent this in, and it just had one can in it. It had two cans in it, actually. And so let's dig into this beer. And thank you so much, Max. Max is a public relations individual, and he's out of California.
So, super funny story about this package. They sent us a koozie, by the way, and there were two cans in the package, and one of them obviously had beer in it. The other one was empty, and I was really confused at first. And I'm like, well, that's kind of, the packaging wasn't wet, it wasn't damaged in any way by liquids, so it really threw me off. And then I got to looking at it, and I noticed the top isn't quite. It's not an actual pop top, and they sent us a stash jar. So I think it's hilarious. I love it. I'm keeping it.
Good use.
I'm keeping it.
You're keeping it.
I'm keeping it. I'm not going to tell anybody what I'm putting in there, but I'm keeping it.
So this is Lagunitas IPA. Super, super fresh. It's actually hard to find this beer fresh. I've never reviewed this beer. Maybe not on the channel. I'm actually not quite sure. This is Lagunitas, by the way. I know you're listening, Max. Can you start doing the bottling, the canning and bottling date thing? I know they do it out of Chicago for some of the things, and it's just because it's still Julian, and it's like, what is that? It's like,
I think especially when it comes to IPAs, it's really, really important to put the canning date in a way that's easy for people to read, and it's not on you necessarily there at Lagunitas, but there are places that will not dispose of bad stock. They just kind of leave it out there for people to drink. And I think that leaves the possibility of people getting a poor impression of a really great beer that's just, been out there too long, especially on warm shelves.
And the worst part about it is that this one's visible. You should see me in this beer store with Lagunitas bottles because it's on the neck and it's on a brown bottle. I look like a complete idiot. Anyway, this was canned pretty much around the beginning of the month.
Okay, so this is still very fresh.
Quite fresh.
But yeah.
Coming over from California, I believe, too.
Yeah.
This is... yeah, I believe this is a California product. I'm not quite sure because he's based out of California. So, no, it says both. So this is probably a Chicago product. I don't know. It's Chicago or Illinois.
So is there a particular reason why some breweries use the Julian date?
Just how their canning or bottling line is set up, and I'm sure they could do the other way. You guys post in comments below if you can know anything better. I don't actually know.
Yeah, I would like to know the reason behind that.
Almost no breweries do it now other than Lagunitas. I think maybe Ballast Point does it.
And a few other smaller ones I've seen.
Anyway, the beer comes in a medium to deep gold color, off-white head, 6.2%.
It's kind of got a skunk fart thing going on.
Skunk fart? What does that mean?
I don't know. It just kind of smells a little bit skunky.
It would not be skunked from...
No. But I mean...
Oxidized? It's got a little bit of light maltiness to it, a little bit of caramel, some breadiness. It's got a little bit of sweet orange character, orange peel, orange oils.
It doesn't quite taste oxidized either, or smell oxidized either.
It's not that aromatic. I'm having a hard time pulling it that much. I'm feeling a lot of blandness. Cheers.
Ooh, but okay, so the taste and the nose are totally different. So right up front, there is a huge burst of flavor, at least on that first sip. Let me get a second. Huge burst of flavor. Now I noticed on the second one, I'm getting more of the malt. First sip, more of the hops. Second sip, more of the malt. And I really like the composition of the malt in this one. I don't know what it is. It's just, it tastes rich. It tastes... I don't know. I can't think of a better word other than luxurious. It's got a really nice, oaty, weedy, it reminds me of, okay, so I love 15 grain bread. It kind of reminds me of that, where it's just really rich in the malt flavor. This is good.
A smack of grapefruit, some pine, a classic West Coast. It's not super bitter.
Right.
It's not very... it's a little bit more streamlined and skinny compared to the Sierra Nevada beers that have that kind of fatter kind of malt character. This one's a little bit more dry. It's also slightly less bitter, but it's actually not that dry. I'll talk about it later in another video that I'll talk about. But this actually finishes at 1020. If you guys are brewers, you probably can understand that. But that's actually very, very high finishing gravity for an IPA, especially a West Coast IPA. Very, very high gravity.
6.2%. Have you ever told people on your channel about the Lagunitas story about the weed?
I have the undercover story, yeah.
Yeah.
About how like undercover people tried to go to the brewery, tried to catch them for being a weed brewery, and they kept trying to buy weed, and obviously people were like, "Hey man, I'll just smoke you out. Why are you trying to buy weed from me?" And they couldn't catch that. One of the funniest things of all time. Like
Yeah,
such
it
a
is.
California weed mentality. It's like, "Hey man, why are you trying to buy weed? We just smoke you out, dude." And they got caught for that, and then that's why they have an undercover shutdown beer. In my opinion, like narratives in beer are like blah blah blah. Some people think it's funny. How did the ships in the IPA blah blah. That's one of the like funniest like OG great stories. Like the cops try to catch you and they couldn't even do it because you're such a freaking stoner that you won't even.
And now the fact that they have stash jars.
Oh, they have all kinds of stuff like that.
I mean, this is obvious. You know, any typical stoner out there would know that this is like obvious paraphernalia. You know, you don't really use stash jars to store money in. I probably will, but yeah, this is hilarious to me. And you know, thanks again, Max, because this is awesome.
So, what's your final impression rating on this beer?
This is really good. This is a nice. And I use safe in a positive light here. This is safe. A nice, safe IPA. It's not overly hoppy. It's actually kind of heavy on the malt in a way that's pleasant. It's a really, really easy drinker. I could sit back and this is one of those IPAs that I could sit there and I could drink half a 6-pack, you know, at a barbecue. And this is cool. Like this, hold on, have another one. Yeah, this would go really well with a day on the beach. I could see this being eaten with kielbasa and sauerkraut. Could do this with shrimp and you know.
It's a very versatile beer.
Yeah, this is super versatile. So you know, this is a great beer.
Yeah.
I remember my initial impressions when I first started getting into the industry. My initial impressions of Lagunitas were not the best. And I think at that time, the bar that I was working for just didn't have a fresh keg. I didn't know enough about beer to know that it wasn't a fresh keg. So to be, I guess, exposed to so many different things from them through Darwin and through this channel, I'm happy to say that like Lagunitas is actually a pretty decent larger brewery.
We'll get some more beers for you because there are some great beers they make. So.
Oh yeah. No, the things that we've had together from them have been awesome. So I really like this one. I think this is a great daytime drinker, or I'm sorry, an everyday drinker for people who like IPAs. Very versatile. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give this a 93. This is good.
Yeah, I think that this could be better fresh. I'm really not getting that much aromatic off of it. But it's in the middle of the road. It's like very safe, but it's also quite delicious. It's bitter, got a nice kind of like the fact that it hides the amount of residual sugar in this beer is one of the secrets of you know the brewing industry. It's just absolutely fantastic what it does. This beer for me gets a 90. Just like great pint IPA. Mm-hmm. As long as it's relatively fresh, I would highly recommend this one as like one of those like, you know, it's like a craft beer bar, but you go to some bars, you know, they got Goose Island, they got Sam Adams, they got Lagunitas.
I'll take this over Goose Island.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
For sure. So until next time, guys, cheers. Thank you so much, Lagunitas. Until next time, guys, cheers. Later.